What is up, you guys? Oh man, am I way behind with this? I know that San Diego was last week, and obviously Anaheim 2 was just this past Saturday night. But I didn't do my San Diego recap because I also had to co-MC a local volleyball tournament, and I had to miss watching the race when it was live. And then I also had to do a write-up for the two championship matches between the boys and the girls. But still, that was a heck of a racing night that night at Snapdragon Stadium. But here's the reason why I'm a little bit behind. The reason why is, aside from the Trans-Pacific Volleyball Tournament that I had to co-MC with my partner, unfortunately, I came down with a bit of a sickness after that, and I basically had to put that on hold because I really wanted to get better, and I didn't want to be sneezing so much when I do this video. So I'm going to be doing that San Diego recap, better late than never. I'm going to do it right now. It's going to be a little shorter than normal because I know I got to get caught up. And I do have my recap of UH men's basketball defeating Bakersfield, and they also just recently won over CSUN this past Saturday night. Unfortunately, I did not go to the CSUN game due to other matters, but I'm still going to do a recap of that because I did watch the game. I did watch the rebroadcast of the game after I came home, and I did watch another replay on Sunday. So anyway, guys, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. But in the meantime, let's get into this. This is my banner for the 250 class. Haiden Deegan wins. Takeout move on Anstie was unintended. And I say that for sure because although Haiden Deegan did take out, well, I don't want to say take out because that was completely unintentional, but good on Max Anstie to take it on the chin. And I think Haiden Deegan also knew that that was unintended as well. And there was just no time for Anstie to counterattack, or Anstie just ran out of room at the top of the berm. But still, for Haiden Deegan to get his first win, oh yeah, he's making me look like a genius now. And he's proving that fourth place at Anaheim 1 was just a temporary setback. But I'll tell you this. Am I a Deegan fan? I would say so. I think the guy does really good. And I like the fact that he backs up his word, and the fact that he continues to show a lot of good riding. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Eli Tomac when he was racing in the 250 class a little over 10 years ago. Because when Tomac got his first podium at Los Angeles in 2011, he pretty much became a front runner from that point on. And that was a good thing for Tomac, because after how his outdoor national season went in 2010, I thought that Tomac was just going to be a flash in the pan and then move on to something else. But it didn't turn out that way. He's grown up and become a good ambassador to the sport and adding a different style with mountain bike racing because of his dad, John Tomac. And I've only heard little bits and pieces about John Tomac, but I know who the guy is. And as far as Deegan goes, I kind of see a little bit of Tomac in him when he rides, because Tomac was always really quick on the 250, and he was just as fast on the 450. And if Deegan can translate that into the 450s, watch out, because I'm not going to doubt him battling for the championship. Do I think he's going to win it? Probably not, because he still has a learning curve. But if he can stay away from injury, he's got a good shot at winning it. Now, obviously, another moment during the race that really took me by surprise was when Chance Hymas had his really close call. And I got to tell you, the fact that he upshifted twice was a vital move to keep that bike upright and him in the race, because anybody else, for sure, they're going into the tough blocks and down on their heads. Chance Hymas evaded that possibility by upshifting twice. It was a good thing he did, because when he got his weight forward, obviously that was something that James Stewart was known for doing. And I can tell you this, he must be taking a page out of Chad Reed's book, because the only guy that I can think of who was able to evade situations like that without a crash was Chad Reed. James Stewart kind of did that after he got Alden Baker in his corner. But before that, I guarantee you, if that was James Stewart racing, no doubt he would have gone into the tough blocks and down on his head. I guarantee that. If Ricky Carmichael was that guy, I could see him saving it, but it would have been by the skin of his teeth, that's for sure. So for Chance Hymas to evade a crash like that, somebody ought to give him a gold star, because the way that he rode is like a seasoned veteran and not just like someone who's learning to drive for the first time, you know? It's like I said, it's like driving on the road and you see something on there and you see some kind of hazard out there, whether it's an ambulance coming, and you immediately know what to do, like pull over to the side. Or if you perhaps come to a four-way stop and the traffic light's out and you got to treat it like a four-way stop, and then you come to a complete stop and wait for the guy on the left to pass through. Okay? So that kind of that was a little bit something there as far as Chance Hymas is concerned. Do I think he could have done better? Nah. It kind of took him out of his rhythm, but he still made the most of his night. Now, as far as Levi Kitchen is concerned, I don't know if he's eating the same food as everybody else on Pro Circuit, but, oh, man, I couldn't believe that he crashed in the first turn again, because, really, for Levi Kitchen, the guy's fast, and he can do great things, but the fact that he can't seem to stay away from the little mistakes like that is really eating him alive a lot more than it really should. And the same thing happened at Anaheim too, and I'm going to do that in another video, and this time I won't wait until arguably past the 11th hour. Like I did with San Diego, but you know what? I got a good reason. And of course, obviously with my sickness, I had to kind of delay it again, which I kind of regret a little bit, but I'm going to do my best to get these recaps out of the way quickly. So getting back to what happened with Haiden Deegan and Max Anstie, for Anstie to do that is good on him. To take it the way he did is good on him. He didn't see anything wrong with it. And neither did Haiden Deegan as well. And I call it unintentional, because the way that Haiden Deegan did to Cole Davies last year at Denver, oh, I'm sorry, but that was intentional. The one with Max Anstie, unintentional. It was a racing incident, but certainly not with Cole Davies. And I can guarantee this. As far as Haiden Deegan is concerned, if Star Yamaha is going to have that conversation with him, if he does it for a third time, I'm very certain that they're going to say to Deegan that he's on thin ice. In fact, they probably told him, that's 2 times he took out a teammate. Stop doing that, man. I can guarantee you they had that conversation with Deegan after the race. And if it happens for a third time, intentional or not, I guarantee you that Haiden Deegan is going to get an earful from the Star Yamaha team. Make no mistake about it. If Deegan does it a third time, and I sure as hell hope he doesn't, he is going to get a real earful from the Star Yamaha team. I'm going to say that right now. So that's where I'll leave it for the 250s. Now to the 450s. Eli Tomac goes back-to-back. Hunter Lawrence should have taken a shot at Tomac. But for Eli Tomac, holy smokes, did this guy come prepared or what? I did not think that Tomac was going to start out going 2 for 2. But at the same time, him going 2 for 2 is no surprise at all. But for Hunter Lawrence, I really hope that him not taking a shot at Tomac is going to be one of the biggest regrets of his career. You know, you look back at 2019 when Cooper Webb and Ken Roczen had that drag race to the finish at Dallas, and Cooper Webb won by a 1/10 of a second or something like that. I guarantee you that was definitely one of Roczen's biggest regrets at all. You know, kind of like how McGrath pulled out of the second moto at Washougal back in 96. And he calls that one of the biggest regrets of his career. Well, with Hunter Lawrence not taking that shot on Eli Tomac, I hope he does not call that the biggest regret of his career. But at the same time, you also don't want to make many enemies this early in the season. But also think about this. In 2007, when Michael Alesi was going for the championship, he decided not to take a stab at Grant Langston and Kevin Windham. And as a result, he ended up giving away the overall to Langston, who won the second moto. And I could visibly see how disappointed Michael Alesi was. And he even said on the podium that he was just too patient. And for Hunter Lawrence, for him to say that he was too patient, I could understand that, especially since it's early in the season. But hey, if I'm Hunter Lawrence, I would have took that shot. I don't care I don't care how early in the season it was. You got to fight for every single point possible. And I guarantee you, if that was Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence's situation, I guarantee you Jet would have taken that shot. But then again, Jet Lawrence is probably at least 1 or 2 standard deviations above everybody else as far as speed is concerned. Because he finds a way, even when the odds are stacked against him, he still finds a way to win. And I'm surprised a little bit that Hunter Lawrence has not picked up on that, to be frank. But still, some people learn quickly. Some people take some time. And I think Hunter Lawrence is one of those guys who takes some time to learn these things. And at the same time, I would kind of call it a double-edged sword that Hunter Lawrence did not take that shot at Tomac. But if I was him, like I said, I would have took that shot. Make no mistake. So, the guy that I was a little bit disappointed in at San Diego was Ken Roczen. He was looking good early on, and then he ended up fading back to about 4th or 5th. But this has kind of been Ken Roczen's forte. I'm not really sure what's up with him, but it seems like once he gets to the end of the race, he starts to get winded. And I don't know if Kenny's got to see someone about that, about fixing that. But this is the kind of thing that David Villeman was known for when he was racing. He would get to the end of the race and start to get winded. And I'm not sure if this is just old age that's catching up to Ken Roczen, even though he is still pretty young. But I'm figuring out what this problem is. But at least it's not like 2022 when Ken Roczen won the first round of the year in Anaheim and then laid eggs for the rest of the season to a point where he had to pull out of the Supercross season because it was reported that he had caught COVID. Okay. Now, am I trying to talk down on Kenny? Hell no. I know the guy can win races, but it just kind of baffles me to see that he starts out so good and then towards the end of the race, he starts to get winded. he's got to probably talk to Mike LaRocco about trying to get stronger in the waning moments of the race, because that's what Mike LaRocco is known for, despite all the bad starts. And, you look back at the last race that LaRocco won, Indy 2004, he started to get faster towards the end, even though Chad Reed was coming through the pack like a freight train, and Kevin Windham was running second, and Reed was all over Windham on the final lap, but he was just too nice to him on the final lap as well, and that's why he ended up finishing third. Chad Reed I'm talking about. But if I'm Ken Roczen right now, I'm probably talking to Mike LaRocco about how to get stronger in the last 3 to 5 minutes, because that seems to be where Kenny drops an anchor and starts losing positions. And that's where I'll leave it for sure. But still, Ken Roczen still did okay. It wasn't a terrible ride, but still, it was another ride that could have been better. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. And remember, subscribe, and I'll see you all for my Anaheim 2 recap. So long, folks.